Yo, so for today's video, I'm going to be helping a viewer make a raid nuke team. Hopefully this can give you guys some insight on kind of like how to make raid nuke teams. Because that's kind of like the most heated thing right now in GS. You know, it's popping off in popularity. So, alright, so already this guy's got a pretty hefty account. Because, you know, he's ranked 242. He's got a bunch of Genshin pests. He's got good raid nukers. Okay. This immediately is a struggle of arts gen. Sadly. So, alright, so for the first raid party here, the reason why we're using all this Genshin Pest is basically to get everybody to the art gauge they need. We're using Forte just as like some more arts gen startup. And then we save the dignified necklace for the second wave. We're using Harusame to give Chloe so that she can super art. DRM only needs a true art, Delta only needs a true art, so they don't need any arts gauge up equips. And then I'm running Shooting Star and the other equip on Delta because those are both like res down equips. And you're supposed to like res down first wave and then damage up second wave. So yeah, that's how the first raid party works. Then for the second raid party here, we have Sunraku as our main nuker. So we've got Delta Strip and an Annulus for just a bunch of damage up. We've got Shadow to buff Sunraku. We've got HK Roy because he can also output a lot of damage and he has physical res down, so he's going to help Sunraku do even more damage. And then we've got Narbarrel, who has Sunraku as leader so that she can buff with her arts damage true art. And she only needs a true art to, you know, damage buff. So I put her on the 4th slot because you don't need as much art gauge. Whereas the other 3 units are going to get that 50 art gauge from the dignified necklace from first wave. So that's why I put her on 4th slot. HK Roy spawns in with 200 art gauge because you get 100 for swapping, plus his true weapon is another 100. That's 200. Then type zeros would be 250, plus the dignified necklace from the other wave would be another 50. So you could swap type 0 out for a different equip and the other ones would work because you have Gothic Forte's dress. So yeah, he would have enough art gauge anyways, but he doesn't really have any other support equips, so I went with type 0. Plus I think it helps Narbarrel get her true arts easier, so that's why I chose type 0. But yeah, and then Terra Conjunction to give him crit rate, Fire Res down on that 4-star magic, Inferno Summerstone to buff fire units damage, Nox to pop physical damage, and then Alpha's Boots to help Shadow get to his art gauge required, and Irish Change of Pace to buff everyone's stats. So that's kind of how the second raid team works. And yeah, so here basically I'm nuking Flagassa for the first time with the comp I made. This is a comp I kind of made like earlier before I did the showcase of the units, so I have some different equip swapped around. For instance, I'm not putting Chloe 4th slot and I'm using Erasure Bit instead, so I'm missing out on a little bit of art gauge. The units are basically the same though, but yeah, that's kind of like just some things I realized when I was just wondering what I could improve more. I switched Alpha's Boots to Shadow because he doesn't have enough art gauge here, you'll see that. So I put Alpha's Boots on Shadow instead, and I put Annulus and Sunraku, and it helped balance out a bit. But yeah, as you'll see here, the boss just gets deleted, and then yeah, Shadow finishes it off. So it's a one-shot comp, and yeah, took a while to design this though. It took like maybe what, 30 to 40 minutes, because I was just hiring different units, different res down setups, different damage buffers. So then I wanted to test it out in a public lobby. So the reason why I like testing on public lobbies is just want to see how fast I can kill the boss compared to like other players, as if it's going to be competitive or not, if I can compete with other players, because sometimes you just can't outspeed other teams and raids. And as you can see here, it's pretty good. The only issue is the Narb true art. She doesn't give enough art gauge, but if I threw like an arts gauge crest on her, it'd probably be way more consistent. Also, this is with Rim and Rand plushies instead of Genshin Pest. The Genshin Pest helps a lot. But yeah, this is basically what it was like in a public lobby. It did a pretty good amount of damage. This comp is a little bit super crit RNG, so it might not one-shot every time. But HK Roy gives everybody enough art gauge anyways so that they can like super art again. So it doesn't really matter too much. But yeah,